The black sky above Earth burned with streaks of light. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the planet, their silver hulls glowing like cold stars. Every major city watched the broadcast. Alien voices echoed across every channel, warning humanity to surrender. The Galactic Council had declared Earth guilty of defiance after a human soldier attacked a Dominion patrol on a distant world. Now the Valeth Dominion, the Council's largest military power, was here to make an example. In orbit, the fleet commander of Earth's defense network, Admiral Keen, stood inside the command room of the orbital fortress Atlas. The massive glass panels showed the Veleth Armada forming in perfect formation, a storm of blue and silver stretching across the sky. The aliens demanded unconditional surrender. Keen watched them in silence, then said in a calm voice, "Patch me through." The signal connected. The alien admiral appeared on the main screen, tall and armored, with skin that shimmered like glass. "Earth," he said, his voice sharp and cold. "You will kneel before the Galactic Council. You will hand over your soldiers, your weapons, and your fleets. You are surrounded. You cannot win." Keen looked at the alien for a long moment. "We don't plan to win," he said quietly. "We plan to survive," the alien smirked. "You think survival is possible?" Keen nodded slightly. "It's not survival we fear. It's what happens after." Then he cut the transmission. The control room went silent. Outside, the alien fleets began to glow as thousands of energy weapons powered up. From the surface of Earth, cities prepared for impact. Civilians took shelter underground. Satellites went dark. Across every major power's command network, one message flashed in red. Operation Veil, initiate Phase 1. Suddenly, a ripple of distortion spread across the stars. Every Veleth ship's sensors flickered. For a brief second, the stars themselves seemed to vanish. The alien commander barked orders, trying to stabilize the signal, but his crew could not explain it. The humans had done something, but no one knew what. On Earth's surface, in an underground chamber beneath Geneva, the Galactic Council's transmission screen glowed brightly. Alien representatives, hundreds of species, watched from their high thrones. Earth's ambassador, Elena Ross, stood before them, calm and expressionless. "The Dominion claims humanity has broken galactic law," one of the council members said, his scaled face twisting in arrogance. "You harbor soldiers who kill our officers. You defy our rule. The punishment is execution and annexation." Ambassador Ross didn't flinch. "You mean occupation," she said softly. The chamber filled with murmurs. The alien voices hissed and rumbled in anger. "You stand before the council, human," the speaker thundered. "Show respect," Ross raised her eyes. "Respect is earned, not demanded," she said. Before anyone could reply, a massive holographic screen appeared behind the council members. The Veleth Dominion had begun a public broadcast. Every world across the galaxy watched as a human soldier knelt on a platform under alien floodlights. His uniform was torn, but his back was straight. His name was Major Eric Hale, a Green Beret captured during a peace mission gone wrong. The alien announcer spoke with cruel amusement. "Here stands the Terran soldier who killed our warriors. Let the galaxy see how fragile Earth's courage truly is." The Galactic Council chamber fell into silence. Ross's heart pounded in her chest, but her face remained calm. On the holographic feed, the alien general walked behind Hale. "Any last words, human?" the general asked. Hale looked directly into the camera. His voice was rough but clear. "Tell my people," he said, "we don't kneel long." The alien general laughed. A flash of light followed. The shot echoed across 1,000 worlds. Hale fell, silent and still. A heavy quiet filled the council chamber. For a long moment, no one moved. The Veleth delegation smirked and bowed mockingly toward Earth's empty seat. "May this remind your species of its place," their leader said. But Ross was still there. She stood straight, her expression unreadable. "Understood," she said softly. "This recording will be entered into evidence." Then she turned and walked away. The council members watched her go. One of them muttered, "Is she surrendering?" Another sneered, "They always fold." But deep beneath Earth's surface, a cold sequence of orders began to move through encrypted lines. In dark control rooms hidden under oceans, mountains, and lunar bases, human officers activated old machines. Machines built before the Council even knew Earth existed. The signal repeated through layers of security, verified, then confirmed by Admiral Keene himself. 9 minutes after the execution, every human satellite vanished from alien sensors. Communication lines to Earth went dark. The Dominion's intelligence networks reported silence. No messages, no distress signals, nothing. The Velith commander laughed on his bridge. Pathetic creatures. They hide because they are afraid. But his second officer hesitated. Sir, their energy readings are gone. Completely gone. What do you mean gone? The commander barked. Not hidden. Not jammed. Gone. Like they erased themselves. The commander dismissed him, thinking it was a system glitch. He did not know that the humans had already begun something far greater than any alien had imagined. On Earth, Admiral Keene stood in the dim command room of Atlas Station. Every console glowed red with silent readiness. His officers waited, tense and quiet. Sir, one of them whispered, confirmation from all sites received. The array is fully aligned, Keene nodded. Then it's done. No transmissions, no threats. We let them think they've won. What about the Council? Another asked. They'll see soon enough, Keene replied. They think we're silent because we're afraid. Let them. He turned to the window. Outside, the stars were peaceful again, and the alien fleets continued their orbit. Keene's reflection in the glass looked older than he remembered. He thought of Major Hale's last words. We don't kneel long. Not long at all, he said quietly. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the alien representatives continued their debate. Some called for immediate occupation of Earth, others for total destruction. None noticed that every human delegate seat was now empty, every Earth-controlled communication link cut. A young alien aide whispered nervously, What if this silence is not surrender? His superior scoffed. What else could it be? They are weak. Their fleets are small. He stopped mid-sentence as the lights flickered. Across the chamber, communication panels flashed with static. The Dominion's representatives received urgent transmissions from home, brief messages filled with confusion and fear. On the central feed, the Velith Admiral appeared, shouting orders, his face pale. Something's wrong with our defense grid, systems offline, power surges in the feed cut. For a long moment, there was only silence. Ambassador Ross reappeared on the main screen. Her voice was calm. The Terran Confederation will not respond to further provocations. This meeting is adjourned. She ended the transmission before anyone could speak. Above Earth, the alien fleets continued to circle, unaware that within minutes, their entire network would begin to fail. For now, they saw a quiet planet, small and fragile, surrounded by their shining ships. But deep within that small planet, ancient human technology pulsed awake for the first time in centuries. A hum vibrated through hidden chambers beneath the crust. Codes older than the Council itself unlocked. Data flowed through forgotten satellites that had been drifting in orbit since before the first alien contact. No one outside Earth could see it. No one could hear the low, growing rhythm that filled the void. It was the sound of something waking, something built not for peace or conquest, but for final defense. On the Velith flagship, the Admiral stared at the planet below and frowned. Something feels wrong, he said quietly. His aide looked up. Sir, the Admiral's eyes narrowed. The humans stopped talking. In the command center under Geneva, Ross stood before a black screen, listening to the low hum rising beneath the ground. She closed her eyes. 9 minutes, she thought. 9 minutes, and they'll remember who we are. Outside, the stars continued to shine, cold and distant. The galaxy thought Earth was finished, but Earth was only getting started. The stars above the Earth were filled with enemy light. The Velith Dominion's fleet held their positions, shining like blades against the darkness. They had expected humanity to cry out, to beg for peace, to surrender their planet to the Galactic Council. Instead, the humans said nothing. No distress calls, no requests for negotiation, no signals of surrender. For 6 hours after the broadcast of Major Hale's execution, Earth had gone completely silent. The aliens watched the world turn slowly beneath them, green and blue and peaceful, but no human voice spoke again. The silence unsettled them more than any weapon could. In the command center of the Velith flagship, Admiral Threk paced across the bridge. "Are they hiding? Have they blocked communication?" he demanded. His second officer checked the glowing screens nervously. "No, sir. There's no interference. They've gone completely dark. It's like they vanished from the grid." Threk narrowed his eyes. "Impossible. Every world under the Council has a trace. Find them." He didn't know that his words were being heard on Earth. Deep beneath the crust, in a bunker below the Pacific Ocean, hidden beneath layers of rock and magnetic shielding, the Terran Command Network watched the alien fleet through. Ancient satellites that didn't show up on any galactic scanners. Admiral Keen stood before a huge glass wall that displayed the sky above Earth. Tiny red dots represented every alien warship in orbit. 3,000 ships, one of his analysts said softly. "We're surrounded." Keen didn't answer right away. His hand rested on the edge of the glass, his reflection calm but cold. "Surrounded," he repeated, "is just another word for opportunity." The room was silent except for the steady hum of computers. Every screen showed the alien fleet, rows upon rows of ships armed with plasma cannons, quantum lances, and energy barriers that no known weapon could pierce. Yet none of them knew that they were already inside the Terran network's sight. Keen turned to his officers. "Status of the grid?" "Stable, sir," the technician replied. "All deep arrays are synchronized. Lunar Node 7 is online. Mars relay reports full link." Keen nodded. "Keep transmissions short and silent. No emissions beyond the magnetic veil. I want them blind until we move." "Yes, sir." On the moon's dark side, old human structures glowed faintly. Massive defense towers built decades earlier under false names, disguised as abandoned mining stations. The Velith Dominion had scanned them hundreds of times and dismissed them as ruins. They didn't know that inside those towers weapons slept that hadn't been fired in centuries. In the Galactic Council chamber far from Earth, confusion grew. The alien representatives shouted over one another. "We demand Earth answer the charges! The Dominion is ready to enforce Council law. If the humans resist, the penalty must be absolute." At the center table, the Council moderator turned to the empty seat where Earth's ambassador once sat. "There is no response," he said. "Their network remains uncontactable." Across the chamber, a group of Dominion officials exchanged smug glances. "They are broken," one hissed. "Let the fleet finish them. The Council will not interfere." The motion passed without opposition. Within the hour, Admiral Threk's fleet received final authorization to invade. The Velith Armada began to descend. From the hidden bunkers beneath Earth, Terran Command watched the enemy formations grow closer. Warning signals filled the control rooms, but no one panicked. The air was calm. Engineers whispered to each other, voices low but certain. Admiral Keen's voice carried through every command channel. "They think silence means fear," he said. "They don't know silence is a weapon. They're stepping right into it." Above the atmosphere, the alien ships aligned their weapons. Thousands of energy beams lit up, pointing toward the cities below. The first officer on Threk's ship smiled cruelly. "Targeting complete, sir. Shall we begin bombardment?" Threk gave a slow nod. "Fire." But nothing happened. The weapons glowed, then flickered, then shut down completely. On every Velith vessel, alarms blared as power systems failed. The bridges were filled with panic. "Power failure across the main batteries," one officer shouted. "Shields are collapsing." "Why? What happened?" "It's not mechanical, sir. Something is disrupting the reactors. Like a signal, the ship's lights died." The sound faded. Only the stars remained. From Earth's surface, the night sky glittered with falling sparks. The alien ships looked like dying stars, their energy fields dissolving into silent flashes. Inside the Pacific bunker, Keen watched through the orbital feed. "Signal feedback confirmed," an operator said. "Their systems are folding in on themselves," Keen nodded. "And the Dominion's response?" "They're panicking, sir. They don't know what hit them." "Good," Keen said quietly. "Let them guess." Far above, one of the alien ships tried to send a distress signal to the Council. The message reached halfway before vanishing into static. The human quantum field net had absorbed it, turning the transmission into noise. Keen looked at the data feed. Millions of alien voices calling out, fading, then gone. "They executed one of ours," he said. "They thought it was strength. This is what real strength looks like." Meanwhile, in the council chamber, chaos reigned. "We are losing contact with the Dominion fleet. Their systems are offline. Something is interfering with subspace." The Dominion senators demanded answers, shouting at one another in panic. "Find out what Earth did," one screamed. But the Council's intelligence units could find nothing. To them, Earth's surface looked quiet and still, showing no sign of energy output, no movement, no sign of war. It was as if the humans were not even there. A young alien aide whispered to his commander, "Could it be human sabotage?" The commander's scaled face tightened. "No. The humans are clever, but not this clever. This is something else." He was wrong. On the moon, hidden inside the old defense towers, the Terran neural array pulsed alive. Thousands of synchronized AIs, each older than the Council's database, linked together under one directive: disable, confuse, destroy. The machines worked faster than light, rewriting the alien fleet's command protocols before the aliens even noticed. By morning, half of the Dominion's ships were dead in orbit. The rest drifted, powerless and silent. Admiral Threck stood on the bridge of his dying ship, staring at the darkened consoles. "This can't be," he whispered. "No one has this kind of technology." Then the main screen flickered. A face appeared. It was human. Admiral Keen looked calm, almost bored. "You wanted a demonstration," he said. "Consider it done." Threck's voice shook. "You will be punished for this." "The Council will—" "The Council?" Keen interrupted. "They already saw what you did to Hale. They saw your broadcast. They just didn't expect we'd respond so soon." "What did you do?" Threck demanded. Keen's eyes hardened. "We listened." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, Council worlds received faint reports of collapsing Dominion fleets, but the data was fragmented. No one knew if it was an accident or an attack. No one dared to guess the truth. Back on Earth, Admiral Keen stood in the silence of the control room, looking at the fading signals of the alien ships. "Send no message," he ordered. "Not yet," his second officer hesitated. "Sir, the Council will demand answers." "They'll get them," Keen said quietly. "But not today." Above them, the wrecks of alien ships floated like broken glass, reflecting the sunlight. From the ground, they looked almost beautiful. Humanity had spoken without words and the galaxy had heard, but this was only the beginning. The silence would not last forever. The Dominion had fallen quiet, but others were watching. Somewhere in the depths of space, messages were already being sent to the Council, warning that Earth had done the impossible. In the darkness of the Pacific Command Room, Keen looked up at the flickering stars on the display and whispered, "They thought we were silent because we were afraid. They'll learn we were silent because we were preparing." He turned to his officers. "Keep the systems ready. This isn't over." No one spoke, but everyone knew what he meant. Humanity's silence was not surrender. It was the sound before the storm. The night sky over Mars burned red as debris from alien ships rained down through the thin atmosphere. The Velith Dominion's fleet had been the strongest in the galaxy, yet now its remains drifted like ash across the solar system. What no one outside Earth understood was that this was not an accident, not a miracle, but a warning. Humanity had only shown a glimpse of what it could do. Inside Earth's orbital fortress, Atlas, Admiral Keen stood before a large, transparent screen showing the map of the galaxy. The Velith Dominion's territories were highlighted in crimson. Over 1,000 star systems glowed red. "We hit only their fleet," one officer said quietly. "Their homeworlds remain untouched." Keen didn't take his eyes off the screen. "Not for long," he replied. The officer hesitated. "Sir, the Council will move against us if we strike again." Keen turned to face him. "They already did when they let the Dominion execute our man. The difference is now they know what we can do. On the outer rim of Earth's atmosphere, hundreds of Terran stealth ships uncloaked for the first time in years. They were dark, sharp-edged, built without registration, and invisible to most alien sensors. The Dominion had mocked humanity as a small, unarmed world for centuries. But in secret, the Terran Defense Network had grown under the veil of peace, studying alien technology and improving it quietly. Each ship carried something new, something no alien had ever seen. Inside the hangars, glowing containers pulsed with faint blue light. The project was called Pulse 9, named after the 9 minutes it took for humanity to erase the Dominion fleet from orbit. On the Velith home world, the capital city of Rasir was a sprawl of towers and lights stretching across a continent. Their leaders sat in their command halls reviewing the loss reports. Whole fleets had gone dark, systems erased, weapons locked in standby with no explanation. The Dominion Supreme Commander, Voth, slammed his clawed hand on the table. "We are the greatest power in the galaxy," he shouted. "No species from that small world could do this alone. Find out what they used." His advisors were silent. One finally spoke. "We have no trace of their technology, sir. No radiation, no ship signatures, no debris. It's as if their weapons never existed." Voth glared at him. "Weapons that don't exist can't destroy 10,000 ships." Outside his window, the night sky over Rasir glowed faintly. The stars seemed to flicker in a strange rhythm. Some thought it was the reflection of the atmosphere. Others whispered that it was a signal. At that same moment, in the council chamber across the galaxy, panic spread through the alien delegates. Emergency meetings filled the Grand Hall. "The Dominion reports complete fleet collapse," shouted one. "Their communication arrays are dead." Could it be a rebellion? No, something worse. The council's chair turned to the only representative missing from the chamber, Earth. The human seat remained empty. The holographic screen flickered, and suddenly Ambassador Elena Ross appeared. Her image was clear, her voice calm. "The Terran Confederation acknowledges the incident," she said. "We advise all council members to remain neutral. This matter concerns the Dominion and humanity alone." The alien representatives erupted in protest. "You cannot act without council approval," one barked. "This is aggression on a galactic scale." Ross met their angry glares without emotion. The Dominion executed a human officer in violation of Galactic Law 22B, which states that prisoners of war are protected. The council ignored it. "We are simply enforcing the law you failed to uphold." The chamber fell silent. Ross continued, her tone icy and precise. "This is not a war. This is a correction." Before anyone could reply, her image vanished. Back in the Velith capital, Admiral Keen's fleet reached the edge of their solar system. Thousands of Terran ships spread out like silent shadows. Every engine was cold, every transmission silent. The aliens' sensors saw nothing. They believed they were safe. Inside one of the ships, Commander Luis stood over the control console. "Target lock confirmed on Rasir," he said. "Coordinates for secondary colonies uploaded." Keen's voice came through the communication line. "Activate Pulse 9." Luis pressed the command. The blue light from the containers spread through the ship like flowing rivers. Across the fleet, the same glow appeared, connecting them in a single wave. From orbit, it looked like the galaxy itself had begun to breathe. The Velith Defense Network reacted instantly, activating shields, summoning every remaining fleet. Massive warships turned their weapons toward the incoming Terran fleet. But before they could fire, the lights across their systems dimmed. Their engines stuttered. Their sensors went blind. In Rasir's central command, alarms screamed. "Power fluctuation across all grids," shouted an officer. "Unknown energy signature, origin unknown." Commander Voth stared at the holographic map as every Velith-controlled world blinked red. "It's impossible," he shouted. "They can't be in our systems. We've locked them out!" But the human code had already rewritten their defenses. The Pulse 9 sequence wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a wave of quantum disruption that dismantled technology itself. It turned energy against its source. It erased power, data, and weapons in minutes. At Earth's command station, Admiral Keen watched the data streams quietly. One by one, the red lights on the galactic map faded to black. Velith Prime. Velith Sigma, Velith Core. In less than 9 minutes, every planet in their empire had gone dark. On the final feed from Rasir, Commander Voth's face appeared, flickering with static. "Humans!" he snarled. "You think this will save you? The Council will burn your world for this." Keen looked at the image, unmoved. "You executed one of ours in public," he said. "Now the galaxy will remember that act forever." Before Voth could reply, the signal cut off. The last image of the Dominion capital showed the skyline collapsing in silence. The Galactic Council chamber received the final transmission 30 minutes later. The screens lit up with reports from across the galaxy, entire star systems offline, communications silent, fleets erased. The Dominion had ceased to exist. Panic spread through the chamber. "They've destroyed an empire. How could humans do this? They were primitive. They must have found ancient weapons." Then the chamber's main screen flickered again, showing a live feed of Earth's orbit. Dozens of Terran ships floated quietly above the planet. No weapons pointed outward. No fleets advanced. They simply stood in silent formation. A voice spoke through the feed. It was Ambassador Ross. "Let the record show that humanity requested peace. We were ignored. Let it also show that humanity will not be threatened again." The screen went dark. Throughout the galaxy, every species held its breath. The Dominion had ruled for centuries, enforcing the Council's will through power and fear. But in 9 minutes, the smallest member world had ended them. On Earth, Admiral Keen stood alone at the viewport of Atlas Station, looking down at the blue planet. "It's done," he said quietly. His communication officer turned to him. "Sir, the Council wants to know if we'll return to negotiations." Keen gave a faint smile. "We already sent our answer." He turned back to the window, watching the sunlight move across the oceans. Below him, humanity carried on. Factories running, people rebuilding, the world unaware that their victory had changed the galaxy forever. But far away, in the deep reaches of space, something stirred. The destruction of the Dominion had created a vacuum, and power never stayed empty for long. New eyes were already watching Earth, waiting, studying, fearing. For now, the planet was silent once again, the silence of a hunter waiting in the dark. And every world in the galaxy understood what the Velith had learned too late. When humanity was quiet, it was never peace. It was the calm before the next storm. The black void of space glowed with burning wreckage. Dozens of alien warships floated lifeless, their twisted hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. At the edge of this silent graveyard, the human fleet moved like shadows, silent, precise, and terrifyingly calm. The lead ship, Vigilant Dawn, loomed over the destruction, its railguns cooling from recent fire. In its command room, Captain Elias stood still, his eyes fixed on a holographic image of the Galactic Troop Command. The aliens were regrouping, and in less than 5 minutes, another wave would arrive across the galaxy. Broadcast screens still replayed the execution. The moment a human Green Beret named Mason was shot on live transmission by alien soldiers. Billions had seen it. Billions of humans had gone silent. The universe thought that silence meant fear. It wasn't. It was preparation. Elias broke the silence. "Status report." His second officer, a woman named Vega, replied, "Fleet operational. Earth Command says the strike order is confirmed. No more diplomacy." "Good," Elias said. "Then we show them what silence really meant." On the bridge's viewing glass, the stars began to shift. A ripple of blue light surged from nowhere as new shapes appeared, dozens of alien carriers warping in formation. The enemy had come. Their weapons glowed like suns preparing to burn entire worlds. The air grew tense as the human crew waited for orders. "Captain," Vega whispered, "they outnumber us 20 to 1. Elias smiled faintly. "Then they've made it fair." The alien fleet opened fire. Beams of plasma screamed across space, painting lines of death. But before the bolts could reach the human ships, they vanished, absorbed by invisible barriers. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as their strongest weapons disappeared without effect. In response, the vigilant dawn unleashed a pulse that spread across the void like a silent wave. The plasma trails bent, then reversed direction, racing back toward their own ships. The alien fleet erupted in chaos. Explosions rippled through their lines as their own fire turned against them. A dozen vessels broke apart, drifting aimlessly. Elias watched the destruction unfold, his voice calm. Engage secondary systems. Deploy drones. Thousands of small crafts shot out of the human carriers, black as shadow, undetectable by radar. They cut through space with perfect coordination, slipping past shields, burying into enemy hulls, and detonating from within. In minutes, the alien warfront became a field of silent flame. Back on Earth, millions watched the live transmission. The execution video had been replaced by another feed, one showing alien fleets burning under human counterattack. Across continents, humanity rose from their despair. Factories lit up again, cities turned to command centers, and every satellite above Earth pointed outward. Humanity had gone to war. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. In the vast chamber, filled with delegates from hundreds of species, tension buzzed like static. The High Speaker, a tall creature with crystalline skin, shouted over the noise. "This human retaliation is unacceptable. They have destroyed 4 colonies in less than 1 cycle." But another counselor interrupted. "You forget they started it." The execution was public. "The humans only responded," the High Speaker hissed. "They responded with annihilation." At that moment, a voice echoed through the chamber's speakers. It was human. Calm. Controlled. The council turned toward the sound as a hologram formed. Ambassador Lyra, humanity's representative, standing tall in her dark suit. "You summoned Earth to answer," she said. "We are here," the High Speaker glared. "Do you admit your crimes against the Council's forces?" Lyra met his eyes. "Do you admit you executed one of our soldiers on broadcast?" The chamber fell silent. Lyra continued, her voice steady. "We did not start this war, but we will end it. The galaxy believes Earth is small. You think we are children who stumbled into the stars. But you have forgotten, we learned from you. We studied your fleets, your weapons, your politics. And we built better." She turned her gaze across the hall. "You taught us that fear keeps order. Now you will see how humans use fear." In orbit around the Council world, the human fleet appeared. Without firing a single shot, every alien defense grid went offline. Shields collapsed, power systems failed, and even the Council's communication relays went dark. The galaxy's most protected world now stood defenseless. Lyra's image flickered brighter. "We did not come to destroy. We came to show you the difference between strength and cruelty. You executed one man and called it justice. You called it a warning. We will not execute your people. We will not broadcast your deaths. We will let your silence speak for us." As she spoke, Elias's fleet moved in formation, surrounding the Council planet but holding fire. A dozen warships positioned themselves at exact points, creating an energy field that pulsed like a heartbeat. Then, one by one, the alien fleets across the galaxy began losing contact. Worlds owned by the galactic troops went dark, communications dead, orbital weapons turned off, command systems erased. In less than 9 minutes, every planet under the troops' banner had fallen silent. In the Council chamber, fear spread like a living thing. The High Speaker shouted, "What have you done?" Lyra's calm eyes met his. "We returned your broadcast. Every screen in the chamber came alive." The aliens saw what humanity had done. Worlds emptied of fleets, their own banners burning above their capitals. Not a single shot fired at civilians, not a single city destroyed. Only silence. Every soldier, ship, and weapon belonging to the troops, gone. Then came the message. It was a voice that played across every surviving world. "You killed one of us on broadcast. For that, we erased your empire in 9 minutes. Never mistake mercy for weakness." Back on the vigilant dawn, Elias received confirmation. Every operation was complete. He turned to Vega and said quietly, "He was one of ours. Now he's avenged." Vega looked at the stars, her voice low. "Do you think they'll try again?" Elias shook his head. "Not after today. They'll spend the next 100 years trying to understand what just happened." Far beyond, in the ruins of the troops' command world, alien survivors looked at the human transmission looping endlessly. The message played on repeat, simple and clear. The galaxy had mocked Earth. Now it whispered a new word: fear. And as the human fleet vanished into silent warp, only the echo of their victory remained. Humanity had spoken once. The galaxy would never forget the sound. The stars were silent, but everyone knew what that silence meant. The galaxy troops were gone, erased from existence in 9 minutes. Yet beyond the shattered sectors, beyond the burning remains of their colonies, something began to move. Deep in the black void where no light reached, the surviving commanders gathered what was left of their fleets. They called themselves the Remnant, and they had one goal: revenge on Earth. The hook began over the quiet night sky of Earth. Cities glittered below, unaware that the largest alien fleet ever assembled since the war was now approaching from beyond Jupiter. In orbit, human defense stations flickered with life, radar screens filling with red signatures. Commander Leah stood inside Earth Defense Command, her face pale but calm. "How many?" she asked. The analyst replied, "At least 600 ships, Commander. All of them moving toward Earth. No communication, no warnings." Leah's eyes narrowed. "They're not coming to talk." High above the blue planet, the first enemy ships appeared. Massive, sharp, their hulls glowing with strange red light. They didn't broadcast demands or threats. They simply advanced in silence. Humanity had destroyed their empire. Now they were coming to destroy Earth itself. In the Pacific defense sector, human orbital guns powered up. Rail cannons hummed, orbital drones deployed, and stealth fleets uncloaked behind the moon. Every defense satellite turned toward the approaching swarm. The air itself seemed to tremble as humanity prepared to fight once again. From her command station, Leah sent the message to all fleets. "This is Commander Leah of Earth Defense. The Remnant is approaching. You all know what they did. You all know what they want. We answer them the same way we answered their masters," the fleet acknowledged. Across the planet, every major city went into lockdown. Civilians were evacuated underground. The world held its breath. Then the sky tore open as the alien armada entered orbit. Beams of energy cut through the void, striking Earth's defense grid. Explosions flashed across the upper atmosphere, lighting the night like a storm. But the aliens noticed something strange. Earth's counterattack never came. They scanned for ships, for missiles, for movement. Nothing. Only silence. For a full minute, their sensors picked up no threat. Then the void shifted. Hundreds of invisible signals appeared around them, cloaked human ships activating in unison. The aliens realized too late. Humanity had been waiting. The first wave of human counterfire was brutal and precise. Kinetic rounds and plasma lances cut through the alien formation like blades. Ships shattered, reactors imploded, and debris scattered in every direction. The aliens tried to retreat, but they couldn't. Space itself seemed to twist, gravity wells locking them in position. In the center of the chaos, Leah's command ship emerged from cloak. "Begin Operation Vortex," she ordered. The human fleet moved with perfect timing. They surrounded the alien formation, each ship linking its field generators to form a massive containment ring. Within the ring, the Remnant fleet's energy signatures began to distort. Their weapons refused to fire. Their engines malfunctioned. One by one, their systems went dead. The alien commander screamed through open channels. "What have you done?" Leah replied calmly. "You came to Earth with your dead empire's anger. You forgot why they fell. You thought we used weapons. We used understanding." Suddenly, the containment field pulsed. The energy that powered the alien ships began to collapse in on itself. Their reactors consumed their own cores, leaving them powerless. The fleet that had crossed light years to destroy Earth became silent in seconds. Earth's skies glowed with falling wreckage as burning ships entered the atmosphere. The planet below cheered, but Leah remained quiet. "Report," she said softly. Her technician responded, 70% of enemy fleet disabled. The rest are surrendering or drifting. No human losses reported, Leah nodded. Then it's over. But she knew it wasn't, because deep beyond Neptune, a signal pulsed. Faint but steady. A distress call from the alien remnant's command AI. Humanity traced it in seconds. It was not just calling for help, it was calling the rest of the galaxy. The broadcast carried one message: Earth has become a threat to all. Within hours, the Galactic Council chambers filled again. Delegates shouted, terrified by the images of the human fleet's latest victory. They destroyed an armada 600 strong. One delegate cried. They disabled ships without firing half their weapons. Another banged his staff. This is not defense. This is dominance. The High Speaker trembled. If humanity can do this, no world is safe. And then, for the first time, a new human voice answered from the center of the chamber. Ambassador Lyra appeared again, calm as ever. No world is unsafe, she said, if no world seeks to harm another. We never wanted war, but if the galaxy wants to test Earth's peace, we are ready, the council murmured in fear. Lyra's words were not shouted. They were quiet but heavy. You saw what happened to the troops. You saw what happened to their remnant. Humanity doesn't conquer. Humanity ends threats. Back on Earth, Leah watched the broadcast from orbit. Do you think they'll listen? Her co-pilot asked. Leah smiled faintly. They will. The galaxy understands only one language, proof. But humanity wasn't celebrating. Earth Command had already begun something larger. Across the solar system, silent stations powered up, machines the aliens had never seen. A network built after the First War, connecting Mars, Luna, and Titan, the solar shield. It would make Earth untouchable. In the next days, signals from the far colonies confirmed it. Every surviving alien world under the troops' empire had gone dark. Not by human hands this time, but by fear. The surviving species surrendered their weapons, shut down their fleets, and offered alliances. Humanity had done what no one believed possible. They had ended war by terrifying war itself. Yet in the quiet of her command room, Leah stared at the stars. We didn't win, she said softly. We just made them afraid. Her advisor turned. Is that not enough? Leah shook her head. Fear fades. Someday someone will forget, and then they'll test us again. She looked at the hologram of Earth, blue and bright against the void. When that day comes, I want us to be ready, not to fight, but to remind them what peace really costs. The transmission ended there, but across the galaxy, the story of Earth spread like a ghost tale. Children of alien worlds whispered about the humans, the quiet ones from a small blue planet who destroyed empires in minutes and disappeared back into silence. No one dared provoke them again, not because of their weapons, but because of their will. Humanity had taught the stars something the galaxy had forgotten. Mercy is not weakness, and silence is not surrender. And somewhere in the endless dark, drifting wreckage from the last battle floated past the wrecked hull of an alien ship. On its cracked screen, one final message still blinked, left by human code. It said only 4 words. For everyone lost. The message repeated forever in the void, echoing through space long after the war ended, an unending reminder that humanity remembered and the galaxy would never forget.